WESH 2 News starts now with breaking news.
That breaking news, a man is in custody accused of killing 3 people and injuring 2 others in multiple shootings in Pine Hills. And here is a closer look at 19-year-old Keith Melvin Moses in cuffs alongside sheriff's deputies tonight.
We have live team coverage this evening. WESH 2's Luana Munoz is live at Orlando Regional Medical Center where the injured victims are being treated right now.
But we begin with WESH 2's Haley Krummelholm, who is live at the sheriff's office breaking down what we know about these shootings, who the sheriff says were all committed by the same man. Haley.
So that first shooting happened on Hialeah Street this morning, where a woman in her 20s was killed, and a news team, from News 13, a photographer and a reporter were covering that shooting in the same area when they were shot just a few hours later. And the sheriff says Moses is also believed to have shot a woman and her 9-year-old child on a street nearby. One of the people with News 13 and the 9-year-old have both died. The sheriff says as of earlier this evening, Moses has not said much, and they're trying to work out why he shot any of these people, including whether or not he was targeting members of the media.
He was detained and arrested near that area right after the 2 shootings. Yeah, very good description was given out. Deputies located him in the exact same clothes that he was wearing during the shootings. And once they did detain him, homicide detectives who were familiar with him from the previous case said, yeah, that's our same guy from the earlier homicide.
Now, the sheriff said that they don't know of any connection between the woman and the 9-year-old to Moses. He says that the woman that was killed this morning was an acquaintance of his. Now, this is a photo tweeted out by the Orange County Sheriff's Office showing deputies escorting Moses. Now, they say that Moses was formally charged for that shooting from this morning. The sheriff says more charges will follow. Live in Orange County, Haley Krummelholm, WESH 2 News.
Tonight, 2 victims remain in the hospital fighting for their lives.
We continue our team coverage now live from Orlando Regional Medical Center, where Luana Munoz joins us now. Luana.
You know, Summer, tonight has been a very difficult night for all of our colleagues in news. Our hearts, our thoughts, and our prayers go out to our colleagues at Spectrum News 13 tonight, where they did have one of their own pass away. Another one of theirs remains here in the hospital tonight in critical condition. I'm going to go over all of the victims. One woman, again, in her 20s was killed. A Spectrum journalist was also killed tonight, and a 9-year-old was killed. Again, a Spectrum employee remains in the hospital tonight in critical condition, and also that 9-year-old's mother remains in critical condition. So here at ORMC, all day long we have seen the curtains drawn, the curtains here behind me, that right here at the emergency room area where the emergency teams kind of come in and out. We know that the hospital has been on lockdown. We're still working to learn if it remains on lockdown this evening, but we saw several law enforcement officers from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, Orlando PD, also sort of combing this area, making sure that nobody goes inside of the ER. They were allowing people earlier to leave the hospital, but no one was allowed inside. So again, we remain out here on the scene. We're going to bring you guys the very latest information as we continue to get it in. But for now, again, 3 individuals were killed. One of them, including one of our colleagues at Spectrum News 13, and another journalist at Spectrum News 13 that remains in critical condition tonight. Reporting live in Orlando, I'm Luana Munoz. Back to you.
And Spectrum News 13's parent company, Charter Communications, has released a statement saying on Twitter, "We are deeply saddened by the loss of our colleague and the other lives senselessly taken today. Our thoughts are with our employees' family, friends, and co-workers during this very difficult time. We remain hopeful that our other colleague who was injured makes a full recovery. This is a terrible tragedy for the Orlando community."
And again, the suspect who is in custody tonight has been identified as 19-year-old Keith Moses. And at this young age, Sheriff Mina told us Moses already has a pretty extensive criminal history, including gun charges and charges for aggravated battery and assault with a deadly weapon, burglary, and grand theft. WESH 2 took a deeper look at his criminal past, but only found misdemeanor drug possession and possession of drug paraphernalia charges from November of 2021. And all of those charges were dropped by the state attorney's office, who deemed the case not suitable for prosecution. But again, tonight, Moses is formally charged in the murder of the woman found dead in Pine Hills this morning. And because we know he is also the suspect in 4 additional shootings this evening, 2 of which resulted in the deaths of a news journalist and a 9-year-old, law enforcement expects additional charges at any moment.
We spoke to an Orlando faith leader who has been serving the Pine Hills community for more than a decade. Bishop Kelvin L. Cabarrus says the #1 thing that happens after violence is fear increases.
Protect your families by any means necessary. Keep yourself safe. Watch your surroundings. And when you know about things that are happening in this community, this should be enough to let you know that you need to say something about what you see.
He adds it's going to take all of us to minimize the violence and reduce crime in our community. Another Central Florida voice against violence who has been leading the way for decades is also speaking out.
Pastor Saval has grieved with families and marched for change. WESH News' Michelle Prado joins us in studio right now. And Michelle, the pastor is hoping that this actually will spark some form of change.
That's right, Summer. And it's a message that he has actually been preaching for decades now. Pastor Jake Stovall has been an advocate against gun violence. The Orlando faith leader has led marches and called for peace, even still leading the way after losing his own daughter to gun violence. Tonight, like many across Central Florida, he's trying to wrap his mind around yet another shooting rocking our community tonight.
It was cruel, you know. It's just because of, they didn't do their job, and they had nowhere on their minds, on your heart. Also, when you go to do a report or something, you thinking that you got to be looking all around you, or thinking something's going to happen to you like that. It's truly an eye-opener for our city.
The pastor has a simple message that he says always after tragedies: put down your guns and pick up your prayer book. Summer, back to you.
All right, Michelle, and Democratic Congressman Maxwell Frost, who represents Orange County, is reacting to today's shooting. He released a statement saying, in part, "Tonight, my heart is with the victims of this senseless tragedy and the families mourning the inexplicable pain that comes with losing a loved one to gun violence. Tonight, an innocent person who was simply trying to do their job doesn't get to go home. Tomorrow, a 9-year-old won't get to wake up because someone with a gun decided their life had to end." And Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd also reacting tonight, saying in part, "We are stunned and heartbroken hearing the news out of Orange County that 3 people were fatally shot and 2 others are fighting for their lives at the hands of a violent criminal who was on a murderous rampage today. Our prayers are with all of the families affected by this horrific event."
Seminole County Sheriff Dennis Lima wrote simply unimaginable news out of Orange County this evening. "It is hard to put in words when a child is a victim of a homicide, and on top of that, a member of our local media is also killed while covering a homicide investigation scene. This is incredibly tragic. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved, including the friends, families, as well as all of our partners in the media who are affected by this senseless tragedy." We'll continue to bring you the latest information throughout this newscast and online. You can also download the Western News mobile app for breaking alerts sent straight to your device. We're also following some breaking news out of St. Cloud. Police there are investigating a murder and attempted suicide at the Soleil Blue apartment complex. This is along Neptune Bay Circle and US 192 at the Soleil Blue apartments. It happened just before 3:30 this afternoon. Police say they got a call from a neighbor after a child came downstairs and said that her father was hurt. Police say they received a second call about a woman who said that she killed her husband and was going to kill herself. They found the man dead inside the apartment. Police say they found the woman in the master bedroom. She had lacerations on her wrist and was taken to the hospital, where she is now in stable condition. A second child was found inside the apartment, or I should say outside the apartment. That investigation continues tonight.
The Winter Park police officer who shot and killed a man at his niece's wedding last year will not face charges in Daniel Knight's death. Winter Park police say the state attorney has determined there has been no violation of Florida law in this case, and there will be no charges against the officer. Police say Knight punched 2 officers last year, knocking one of them out after they were called to the wedding because of a drunk guest. We're told one officer tased Knight and then shot him. His family has disputed some of the details and say the officer should have never opened fire. Tonight, a Brevard County school principal is charged with child abuse involving one of his students.
As West News' Gail Pascal Brown reports, the man is accused of injuring a special needs student, but school administration says the facts were misrepresented. Next, we continue to follow developments in our breaking news.
A suspect in custody tonight accused in a series of deadly shootings in Pine Hills that claimed the lives of a woman in her 20s, a 9-year-old child, and a Spectrum News 13 reporter. Stick with WESH 2 on air and online at WESH.com for the very latest details. Tony?
And it was a very warm afternoon today, but it's going to get even hotter tomorrow. Records are going to fall, and we may hit some all-time record highs. I'll have that story for you, plus a look at the weekend forecast all straight ahead.
Next ET, big TV goodbyes and returns.
They're not even showing that final cut to us.
From Grey's Anatomy to Tatiana Ali's Bel Air Homecoming.
I am having the time of my life.
Plus, Motown legend Smokey Robinson steps into our Black History Month spotlight. His new music that will make you blush. You'll hear it. Next ET.
Tomorrow at 7 on WESH 2. Jason Guy on WESH 2 News Sunrise.
And breaking news tonight that we continue to fall out of Orange County. A suspect is in custody, accused of killing 3 people and injuring 2 others in multiple shootings on Hialeah Street in Pine Hills.
WESH 2's Haley Crumble-Home, who is live at the sheriff's office, breaking down what we know about these shootings that the sheriff says were all committed by the same man, 19-year-old Keith Melvin Moses.
So that first shooting happened this morning when a woman in her 20s was killed, and there was a news crew, a photographer and a reporter with News 13 who were in that area covering that shooting when they were shot just a few hours later. And the sheriff says they believe Moses is also responsible for shooting a woman and her 9-year-old child on a street nearby. One of the people with News 13 and the 9-year-old have both died. The sheriff says as of earlier this evening, Moses has not said much, and they're trying to work out why he shot any of these people, including whether or not he was targeting members of the media.
So in this area, we have not had any violence against our media partners, but certainly we have seen that around the nation and around the world. So that's something we're definitely going to be taking a look at and see if we can put the pieces together and see why this happened.
The sheriff also says the suspect was an acquaintance of the woman who was killed this morning, but as far as they know, he had no connection to the mother or that 9-year-old. He says they are unsure why he entered the home they were in. The sheriff says that Moses has been formally charged with that shooting from this morning and that more charges will follow. Back to you.
And of course, we continue our team coverage live at Orlando Regional Medical Center, where victims of this shooting are being treated.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get you out to Luana Munoz, who joins us from ORMC tonight.
Yeah, ORMC, things here are starting to calm down. Earlier today, the hospital was placed on lockdown, and we believe that it remains on lockdown this evening. You can see that the curtains are still drawn down behind me. There were several law enforcement officers that were here today from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, Orlando PD, as well as FHP as well. This is where those victims were brought and are being treated tonight. So once again, just kind of running through all of the victims. That included a woman in her 20s who was killed, a Spectrum journalist that was also killed, and a 9-year-old that was killed. Those that remain in the hospital tonight in critical condition also include a Spectrum employee, again, who remains in critical condition, as well as the mother of that 9-year-old who is also in critical condition. But once again, this has been a very difficult night for journalists here in the Orlando area. We are standing in solidarity with one another. One of our own, a fellow journalist from Spectrum 13 News, has died tonight. So as you can imagine, this has just been a moment where everybody has kind of come together, hugging one another. This is every journalist's worst fear when they go out and they cover a news story, that they become part of the story. And this is what we witnessed this evening. It has been nice to see the camaraderie, but our thoughts and prayers, of course, going out to all of our colleagues at Spectrum 13 News, as well as everyone who was impacted by today's senseless and tragic crime. Reporting live in Orlando, I'm Luana Munoz. Back to you.
And we'll continue to bring you the very latest on this investigation and victim conditions on air and online at WESH.com. You can also download the WESH 2 News app for breaking alerts sent straight to your phone.
New at 11, we now know the name of the man who was killed in an Orange County shooting last Friday. The sheriff's office says 21-year-old Red Nelson was shot in south of Apopka on Highland Avenue near 15th Street. No arrests have been made. If you know anything, call Crime Line at 1-800-423-TIPS.
The Volusia County woman who is accused of shooting and killing her terminally ill husband in a Daytona Beach hospital has now been formally indicted. A grand jury heard the case just this morning and handed down the indictments. Ellen Gillen here now faces 4 charges, including assisted self-murder and aggravated assault with a firearm. Police arrested the 76-year-old last month at Advent Health Hospital in Daytona Beach. They say she made a murder-suicide pact with her terminally ill husband, Jerry, and shot and killed him inside his hospital room. We've reached out to Gillen's defense attorney and have yet to hear back.
I-75 in Marion County is back open tonight after a semi hit an overpass this morning. Temporary repairs have been made to the Southwest 66th Street Bridge over I-75, allowing traffic to safely move under the bridge. The bridge remains closed as crews continue to work on additional repairs.
Tonight with our weather, we are warm, we are dry, and, you know, I kind of like it this way.
We could be record-breaking tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Tony Manolfi joins us now to look outside. Hey, Tony.
There's a pretty good chance that we will tie and break records tomorrow. The bigger question, though, is can we get to 90, and can we tie that all-time record-high temperature of 90 degrees for the Orlando area? Blue tonight on the building there. Beautiful night. Tell you what, if you've got any loved ones up north, Minneapolis, Toronto, Chicago, Michigan, they are socked in with snow, ice, sub-freezing temperatures. We're in the teens. Wind chills here are running 20 to 40 below. Blizzard conditions, blizzard warnings now through the Dakotas. While down here in central Florida, boy, we are living a charmed life for the time being. Fair skies, light winds, and when temperatures are that hot, there's a good chance you're going to tie or break records. Orlando, Sanford, Leesburg, Daytona Beach calling for record-breaking heat and/or record-tying heat. Easy for me to say. Melbourne 86 versus the 90-degree mark. All right, we do have a launch tomorrow, so get a 2-for in. Go watch the launch and then hang out at the beach there for a little bit. 95% go there. And then in the long-range forecast, we do have a front that we'll be working on in kind of slowly and gradually. May bring us just a little bit of rain late Tuesday on into Wednesday and a minor cool down from near 90 to the lower 70s. There's your rainfall chances there come late Tuesday, about a 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of rain. Better chances, though, to the north. So your 7-day forecast, 90, 89, 88, 87. Monday back up to 88. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, a few sprinkles around, nothing major. WESH 2 News at 11 returns here in just a moment.
Now, WESH 2 Sports, sponsored by Mullinax Ford.
This is it. It's the final time UCF and USF will square off as conference rivals. I'm Kendra Douglas. The Knights look to shake off back-to-back one-possession losses. Should be an interesting offseason for the Bucks. All right, well, stay with us. More to come after the break.
The reason why we go on TV is to give that first warning.
We want to give heads up. First warning here, Claremont.
There is no better feeling in the world hearing people say, hey, Tony, I'm tuning into you. I trust you. And that doesn't come in a week. It doesn't come in a year. It comes over years of building that rapport with the community. And to me, that's pretty important. That's why it's a privilege to put your forecast in focus. I'm your Chief Meteorologist, Tony Manolfi.
WESH 2 News at 4, covering the big stories across Central Florida.
Breaking right now at 4.
Breaking news, new developments, and the only forecast certified most accurate. Join Nancy, Stewart, and Cam. Weekdays starting at 4.
We're still on top of breaking news where 3 people have been killed, 2 others in the hospital fighting for their lives.
Let's get you out to Haley Crumblehome, who has the very latest from the sheriff's office.
So that first shooting happened this morning when a woman in her 20s was killed, and the News 13 photographer and reporter were in that area covering the shooting when they were shot just a few hours later. A mother and her 9-year-old child were shot in their home on a street nearby. The sheriff says Moses is the suspect in all of these shootings. The sheriff says that he has been formally charged with that shooting from this morning and that more charges will follow. Live in Orange County, Haley Crumblehome, WESH 2 News.
And all of us here at WESH 2 want to offer our condolences to not only the families of the victims of the community, but also to the News 13 family as they are now dealing with the loss of a colleague.
Yeah, we will continue to keep them in our thoughts and our prayers. Continued coverage of the deadly shootings begins at 4:30 in the morning on WESH 2 Sunrise. WESH 2 News is always online, though, at WESH.com or simply by using our free WESH News mobile app.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope you join us again tomorrow night.